Hey Stampers, Gaynor again, and I'm back with another Q&A, and I've got a fair few today, so I like doing these. Right, we got Carol Mateza. How do I work out USA and UK measurements for making cards? Well, we have A4 cardstock here. Yours is, I think it's called A4 as well. Yours is 11 by 8.5. Ours is 11 3/4 by 8 1/4. Yours is, I think ours is slightly a bit more longer, I'd say. You've got 11 inches, we've got 11 3/4 inches, but you get an extra 1/4 of an inch that side, so we get 8 1/4. So when we cut our cardstock in half, it is at 5 7/8 by 8 1/4, and then we fold at 4 1/8. In America, let me just use my little pad from my gorgeous friend. So the USA A4 card is 8.5 by 11. So you would cut it in half at 5.5, making it 8.5 by 5.5. Score and fold at 4 1/4. So then your card base is 5.5 by 4 1/4. Then for layering, if you wanted to take a 1/4 of an inch off, if you were doing a small border, you would go 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 for small, and for the average border is 5 1/4 by 4. Now, so that's the USA. For the UK and Europe, ours is 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. So when we cut that in half, then it's 5 7/8. Once you've cut it in half, and then that gives us 8 1/4 by 5 7/8, and then we score and fold at 4 1/8, making our card 4 1/8 by 5 7/8. And for borders, then, if you wanted a small border, you would have it at 4 by 5 3/4, small. But on an average border for us is 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. So that's how it's worked out. So I do my best when doing cards. Sometimes I will give you European sizes and US sizes. So, but I do try my best. But I'll leave them there for you for a moment, darling, so you can have a little ponder on that form if you want. So that's your question, my little angel cakes. And then you layer accordingly. Then you could either take a 1/4 of an inch off, or you can take an 1/8 of an inch off. It's entirely up to you. If you like small borders, then go with an 1/8. If you like a large border or an average border, go with a 1/4 inch. So 1/8 for small, 1/4 for average, and that's the same for both the USA and European cards. Ha! My lovely Carla, beautiful Carla Bostic from the USA. Am I going to do a challenge for breast cancer again? It wasn't really so much for breast cancer. It was breast cancer research UK, or just cancer research. But yes, more than likely I will do one just for breast cancer. Yes, how's that? But let's get this one out the way first. I can't do two. Card stash. What do my tattoos mean? Oh, bless you. Well, this is Lola. It's my gorgeous 12-year-old granddaughter. And these are love hearts all linked together to a little brother that say Frankie. So they're intertwined with love. by both me and Bampy for our 2 beautiful grandkids. This one says Paul. This is Mr. B's first name. This I had done when I was about 17 and just messing around with a bottle of Indian ink and a needle. Silly, yes I know, same as this one. I also have a tattoo on the back of my neck of Amy Louise and Tiffany Lee, and they are my 2 daughters' names. On the top of my boobie on the left hand side, I'm not showing, but it says Boise, which is Mr. B, mine forever. And I also have a picture of a big M with an arrow, because I'm a Scorpion. So it's my birth sign. So that's what all my tattoos say and mean. How's that? There we go. Card stash. Thank you for them questions, my little angel. Kaylee Slimman, who sent cards in today, and absolutely wonderful, with her sister Cassandra. Where did I get my bow maker? I bought this, my darling, in a shop near us called The Range. It cost like £3. But I believe you can buy them on Amazon and eBay. Look how mucky mine is. Oh, you know, I don't turn it over very often, so this is just blobs of glue. And if you've got a glue rubber, it just come off. I have another 2 pegs for this as well. I don't know why they give you 4, unless you want to make 2 bows at the same time. There we go. Oh, I know. I'll be doing that on a regular basis now. You get 4 pegs with them, and they can make really good sized bows, and you can make really tiny bows. You know, it's up to you where you put them. But yeah, I keep that right in front of me at all times, because I cannot tie bows to save my life. I am getting a little bit better, but not that much. Do I use it a lot and show it? Or do I use it a lot and not show it? I use it every single time I make a card on camera, and I do show it. And I've done a little video on how to use it as well, because not everyone knows how to. I had to sit and learn how to use it, trust me, but yeah. I like the normal tie-in bows. You can do double loops, you can do triples. I have shown how before you tie, you can add more threads, so it looks like like this one, I added extra threads through the centre to give me 2 tails, because I got 3 loops. I could have added a 3rd one, so it looked like I'd tied 3 bows all at the same time. Yeah, it's just, I love it. Oh, this is my go-to kit. I do sometimes try and make a bow without this, but I end up going back to that all the time. So yeah, I do use it a lot, yeah. How do I store my cards after I have made them? I don't know if you've seen my craft room tour, my lovely, but the newest one. We bought a unit from IKEA, and it come with these boxes. I wonder if I can just grab one out that's not too heavy. And it comes with these little boxes. Whoa, they're really big actually. They are 18 inches by 18 inches by about 18 inches tall as well. And I just put them inside there until it's full, or until I want to gift them to a charity, or I send them on to Mandy for her card challenge. I also send them on to my lovely friend Cinders, who I adore. Because she's now collecting them for the hospice. She helps with them with their charity. So yeah, I never sell them, never. If people ask me to make them a card, I just ask them to cover postage to get it to them, because I don't do this for money. And that's one of the questions later on, is somebody asked me, and I'll get to that in a minute, but no, I do this for the love of it. And it keeps me sane, because if I sat downstairs thinking about all the pain that I'm in all the time, I have pain when I eat, I have pain when I drink, because I've got every time you have an operation, you get a thing called adhesions, and they're like spiders' webs that grow to protect, because it's an invasion of your body. So your body goes on the defence then and creates like webs to protect the organs. And because I've had 21 operations, not just on my stomach area, lady problems and stuff, I ended up with about 27 adhesions. And they can strangle you, parts of you bowel as well. And I had to have an operation about 3 years ago now to have them removed, which was not a very nice operation at all. And you can end up losing all your bowel through it if you get too many and you get too many problems with them. But because I've had a gastric bypass and a stomach staple, where the webbing, the adhesion had grown, it was strangling my, I can't call it esophagus because my food goes down. I know I've got a little patch like that, and then my bowel is attached, my small intestine, so it bypasses the large and then the small intestine, so my food doesn't go through the whole body system like a normal person. Once it's in the pouch and I get full, then it goes down straight into the small intestine and then down into the bowel area. Well, this was being strangulated, and if I chewed something and I didn't swallow it, if I didn't chew it properly and I swallowed it and it was a little bit whole, would get trapped, and then I would have to physically make myself sick. So then they removed those adhesions, and now it doesn't get trapped by the pouch anymore, but it travels now down, and as it gets closer to the bowel, it gets trapped there, and so I get pain there, and it's horrendous because there's nothing I can do about it. I can't go and physically make myself sick because it's travelled halfway down my stomach by now. Well, not stomach, my small intestine, so there's no way I could fetch that back up. So I am in agony then for about 4 to 6 hours. So I do try and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew my food. I only eat between 4 and 6 ounces of food at any one meal anyway. I've lost over 12 stone, and I've kept it off for 15 years, so I'm quite happy about that. So why did we talk about that? I don't know why that question came about, but I don't know. Yeah, what that was for about. You know, my head is so fuzzy these days. There's projects going on in my head right now. I want to do this, I want to do that, and I've ordered new things, not from Stampin' Up, from other places. I've just ordered this yesterday, and it came today, and it's absolutely amazing. And the 6 6s are 36, so the 6 of one. You get 6 designs, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, isn't that beautiful, 5 and 6, and then you got it again, and I think you've got that 6 times, yeah. So obviously 6 6s are 36. So wait there, yeah, 1, 2, yeah, there's 6 6s are 36. So I'm going to be making albums out of this. Beautiful. I've ordered another one. It's coming, should be soon, within the next 2 to 3 weeks anyway. It's called Mother's Day. Another album I want to make, not for my mother, but for my mother-in-law maybe, or for just, if anyone wants to buy them, more than welcome to pay me for what. I don't charge, I don't make money on anything. I literally just want people to cover the cost of the materials, and I do them for the pure pleasure of it. And how do I store my scrap paper? Well, scrap paper or scrap cardstock. So I'll show you my scrap cardstock. It's in a little basket. This now will probably go in the bin. Yeah, because there's too many holes. But you know, I will save stuff like this for little cutouts, but I don't want to go too small. I save everything. So this was a project that went wrong. These are really relatively too small, but I don't normally keep anything smaller. Let me just put that back. then save. That's about the biggest piece I'll save. I mean, I'm normally quite a frugal person and I like to use every last bit, but when it comes to saving little bits of cardstock, no. But now DSP, I save it all, even the little tiny bits, because, and it doesn't matter how small a black piece is, I will save that as well, because black around a sentiment, you know, you can use a little strip. Where's that? Say I can pick that out, I can put a sentiment on there, I can cut it out, and I've got a black border, because black's quite a precious cardstock and I quite like it for bordering. But any other colour, and I think these are about the smallest I'll go, but things like that, that's a relevant size for me, and I realise what I've cut out of it now, so I will get quite a few more out of that. But they stay in this little basket, sweetie. And with the designer series paper, I just put it back in with my designer series paper. I'll show you a packet now. I should have pulled one up really. So I keep my designer series paper in these page protectors that Stampin' Up! Sell, and every last bit of DSP, even things what I've cut out from, they just go back in here. There's no point me having a bag for scraps of DSP because I'd be rooting through it, for one, and for two, like I'm saying, if I used to keep a bag just for DSP, but the amount of times I have to go through it, so now it's easier for me just to keep it in with its designer series paper. These page protectors hold up to 2, because I've got 2 packs of that paper in there. So if you can tell, I keep all the white cardboard as well. I keep this because if you want to make cardboard cutouts and use them as like embellishments, it's better to use this, run it through with this, and then run it through your die machine, and then glue the two together, and you've got something really substantial then. Or I use these to make mini albums as well. And then the thick board that comes, the chipboard that comes with some of the special papers, I keep that as well because I use that to make albums as well. So yeah, but I keep my DSP with my DSP, and my cardstock bits then go in that little basket. So, but I try not to cut too many little pieces down. If I would need a piece, and I will literally root through my basket first before cutting up a full sheet. So yes, that's how I store them, my lovely. Where do I get my cello bags from? I go on eBay and type in is it A2 or C6 cello bags, and there's hundreds of people selling them on there, and I buy 1,000 at a time because it keeps the cost down. So 1,000 costs me about £16, which works out, oh god, what's that, 1.6p each. But if you buy them by the 50, you can pay like £3, and then they work out something like 60 pence each. So it works out a lot cheaper to buy them by the bulk. So that's what I do. How did I get into card making? Oh, I love this one. Oh, I love answering this. Me and Lola on a Friday night when she first, well, actually it was before she moved down, but on a Friday night me and Lola used to, I had a better printer then, and the printer I've got now is marvellous, but it only prints on dead thin paper. I can't get it to print anything on cardstock for some reason. I don't know. I haven't looked at all the settings or anything. I don't know. But I used to sit and download digi-prints because my gorgeous husband bought me the full set of Spectrum Noirs. And because I just love colouring, I used to sit with, I'd go out and buy kids' colouring books and felt pens and just colour forever. I loved it. So then I started going a bit more adventurous online and pulling off the digi-prints. And then I started doing how to learn how to do all the shading and the blending with my Spectrum Noirs. Loved them. And yeah, one day I thought to myself, that would look beautiful on a card. So I went out and I bought some card bases, and I bought some designer series paper. I then went wild actually on eBay and bought loads of 6x6. Wish I hadn't, because I ended up binning most of it, believe it or not. It wasn't, and it wasn't very nice stuff either, and I was just clicking because it was cheap. But yeah, my digiprint one then turned into a card, and I thought to myself, oh, I could really get used to this. So I ended up making about 6 cards from using my digiprints, and they were all like little kids in denim clothes, so I could do the shading on the denim jeans and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I got into it. And then we were sitting there one day, my husband was, I was like, oh, I want to buy a stamp set, but I'm not sure what I want. I would like trees. I like trees. And my husband scoured the internet then and come across, believe it or not, the Lovely as a Tree stamp set from Stampin' Up, which is just retired. Oh my goodness. Love that stamp set. And I was an hour to buy wood or the rubber one, and he said, go for wood, you haven't got to buy blocks. And we bought that, and I started making more cards. I'd done card making years before. I went out and spent a fortune, bought card bases, ribbon, you name it, I bought it, and then never did anything with it. I was one of them that I'd look at it and then go, oh. But then I always did it in school as well. We used to have after school club, and when we were younger, and I'd always ask to do it. If I wasn't doing my gymnastics, I'd ask if I could do the card making classes and the 3D projects and stuff like that. So I did loads in school. But then you know, you grow up, and then you have kids, you get married and stuff like that, and then it's only after, when you've got no kids at home, and you know, that you think, and then you've got all these problems, but you then start to think, I need to do something. I've always been a quite creative person. I always used to love to cook, and always got compliments on my cooking. It was, you know, people used to pay me years ago to cook for them, because it was just, I just love it. But I'd done so much cooking over the years. You know, I still do what I can, but it's not as adventurous now as these days as probably when I was younger. But yeah, so my time then turned into making cards, and I just this time it's clicked with me, if you know what I mean. I love it, I adore it, and I can't imagine going a day without doing something. I just love it. I'm up here for a while every day and every evening. I just love it. I just love it. And if you've found something that you're passionate about, then devote yourself to it, because then it becomes a part of you, and every card you make then is a part of you. You're giving something, you're giving that bit of love from your heart and your mind, your creativitiness, to the next person that you're passing it on to. I do make my cards for my family and friends, and yeah, I just love it. I love it. So yes, going from colouring books to digiprints to then joining Stampin' Up. Well, I didn't actually join straight away. I bought the stamp set and then joined about 5 months later. It took me that long to convince myself to spend the £99 for the stamp set and the kit. And I joined during Celebration, believe it or not, and ended up with nearly £200 worth of products for like £99. You can't look that in the, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, and that's history. And we are now 3.5 years down the line. My goodness. Oh, yeah, I love it. We had a question today, actually, off the lady called Denise Johnson. And instead of answering it in the comments, I thought I'd do it on the Q&A. And she put, what card do I use when I'm using the Touch 5 markers? Well, when I did the swatch, I did it on my 300 GSM. But I must admit, I would only ever use it now on Stampin' Up's Whisper White. It's just amazing. So Stampin' Up Whisper White or Stampin' Up Thick Whisper White, it's just got the perfect smoothness. I've never tried anybody else's, so I can't comment. I've heard that you can get, I don't know, what's it called? Nina Solar White cardstock or something. I've heard of them, but I've never used them. But this, if I was... And anyway, this just stamps beautifully for the Memento ink. So you can use these, but these are the Arteza markers on this piece of paper. which I've done a little review on them, and I'll be putting that up at some point. So yes, I use them, and yes, they are refillable, my darling, but the set is 168 pence. Where I got mine from, you can buy them singular, something like 56 pence for us, and about 60 cent for USA. So I wouldn't bother buying a refill for it. I just replace the pen. They last up to 2 years anyway, so you know, 60 pence for a pen, whereas I'd have to buy the refill, then I'd have to buy, you know, everything else. I would buy replacement nibs and replacement, you know, the other end, the fine end, the chisel end and stuff, but I wouldn't buy the refill, because the refill can be quite expensive. You might not. Can you imagine buying 168 refills as well? I know it's expensive, so I just buy the pen singular when it runs out. So there we go, my darling. And there's that for the cardstock. Stampin' Up. Anything really smooth that takes ink well, I would definitely use that. So if you've got other brands, then use those. Try them. Experiment. Just stamp and use a pen and see if it, you know, because I went over these a few times on some of them, and it doesn't saturate the paper neither. So that's another reason I use Stampin' Up's Whisper White. And then we got a lovely lady called Wendy Lynch. What do the charities do with the cards? Do they sell them? Do they keep? They sell them, my darling. They sell them and keep the money. And the money that's raised then from selling them goes to that charity for them to have more research or more medicines or whatever it is they want to do it. They sell the cards and then they keep the profit and add it back into research. And why don't I run my Stampin' Up as a business? Because I'm not money driven, my little angel. I do it, like I just said, for the love of it. If I wanted to put myself into it 24/7, I just haven't got the time. I love what I do. I love doing the charity work, and I love doing, you know, it's not even work to me. It's just it's my hobby. I love it. But I'm not money driven. What I've got is comfortable enough for me to live off, and Mr. Boyce, we don't go without. I mean, we're not lavish by any means, but neither of us are money driven. So, but to sit, I know the lady said also you've got quite a few followers. I know that, sweetness, but I want to keep myself real and true to myself. I don't want to be begging people for custom. I don't want to be begging people for orders. It just doesn't relate to me. That doesn't, if I was to do it as a business, I think I'd be terrible at it, for one. I've got a head like a sieve. I mean, I have had a couple of ladies buy off me in the past, and I've forwarded them on to my friends who run Stampin' Up, because I'm not in it for money. I'm in it for the love of it, and I just want to keep myself true to my own. This is my hobby, and I didn't join Stampin' Up to do it as a business. I did it so I could get discount, believe it or not. I love my discounts. So Mr. Boyce and myself, we pay our bills, we go shopping, and what's left, we don't split. We give ourselves a few quid here, there and everywhere. We put it aside, and he does what he wants and I do what I want. Mine all goes on Stampin' Up and other things like the cardstock you've just seen. You know, that's my pocket money, and he gets his, as we call it. And then, you know, the rest is history. But I don't want to run a business. I want to carry on doing my hobby and my therapy. So, yeah, there we go, my lovely. They sell them and keep the profit, and I don't want to run a business. Oh, I think I'd have to go to business school. So you've got to know what you're doing, and you've got to be money driven, I think, to run a business. And I'm not either of those. I'm just who I am. I love making videos. I love passing what knowledge I've got, what little knowledge I've got, onto everybody else, and that's my reward. I don't need payment for that. I love the comments. I love everything else about it, but I'm not money driven at all. And like I say, I do card giveaways. I do paper giveaways. I mean, this is all stuff I've made. You can look around my craft room now and there's bags and bags of boxes that I've made for videos and stuff like that. And if anyone wants them, if you're willing to pay postage, the little gift boxes, all types of little bags, everything. If anyone wants any, please don't hesitate to get in touch. If you want to pay for shipping and P&P to get it to you, you can have them with pleasure, because I've made about 60 boxes and they're all sitting on top of one of my units in bags ready to go to anyone who wants them. Like I say, I give all my cards to charity, and once I like the papers here, I will do what I need to do with these papers, and then I will cut them down to 6 by 6 and then give them away. I gift them away to people. As long as I've done what I want to do with it and I've got my money's worth. I think this was only like £7 off Amazon. So they send me emails every now and then, and if I like the look of something, I'll click on it and I'll buy it. But and I just bought loads of little other things, but they will be in the albums I make. I love making albums. I don't sell I will sell the albums, but only to cover the cost of what it cost me to make it. And obviously then, if you want it, you'll have to pay for P&P as well. So I'm not... And if you ask my friend Sandra, she wanted a bow maker. She couldn't find him in a local store. So I went out and bought one and sent it to her. And she was over the moon. I'm a giver, not a taker. I've never been a taker. I've always been a giver. So, and I think that's the best way in life, is to... And I like taking compliments. I absolutely adore that. But payment for me is those wonderful comments. And that's me happy. I don't know what else to say. I just don't want to make money out of it. If you start making money out of something you love, then you don't love it in the end. Because you're always chasing that next penny. And that to me is not enjoyable. So I just do this for the love of it. But there you go. I've answered all your questions for this Q&A. Please keep them coming in. And once I get quite a few, I will come back and do another Q&A. And yeah, ask me anything. Anything. As long as it's nice. As long as it's nice. So thank you. There you go. There's your US measurements to our UK, or European even. And that's how you can have small borders, average borders, you know. I'll keep them up just for, if you want to zoom in and take, there's the USA measurements. And my handwriting's atrocious. And there's the European measurements. So, there we have it. I know you'll get confused now. You'll go 5 7/8, but that's after you've cut the cardstock in half at 5 7/8. So you'll end up with it there. Then you'll fold it 4 1/8, and the card folded will be then that size. And then if you want borders, layers, you do it for small and then average, UK and American. So there we go. There are my few questions answered. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. I don't mind if you ask me the same questions again, or if it's somebody else asking the same questions again, because they may not have seen the video where I have answered that question. So please don't feel like, you know, you've got to hold back. Ask me anything you want. So I'm going to love and leave you now, because it's tea time and I'm hungry. And I will speak to you all soon. Take care, everybody. Love you. Thumbs up. Press the button and the bell. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.